Hello, hello, chat. I realized that streaming in the morning is actually a lot better for many reasons. There aren't that many time slots and not other people streaming from within the same content sphere, I guess. And the more important one is that I get the day off. Like, up until now, I would make the videos for the day, and then I would be stressed out because it's like, oh, well, I need to stream during the night. I need to prepare for the stream. Now I stream during the morning, and then I upload the videos, and that's it. Like, I can actually spend time with my wife. Holy crap. I noticed that I got a super chat from Vincent. My tribute to the Gypsy Vampire King. I'm not a gypsy. I'm also not a vampire. I am a king, though. I'm like Darkseid Phil. He's the king of hate. I'm the king of love. I do the love speech. By the way, why isn't love speech encouraged, right? Like, if hate speech is discouraged, like, shouldn't love speech be encouraged? Like, you should get money for doing love speech. You do a lot of love speech on Twitter, you get a blue check mark. How would love speech be like? Like, if hate speech is disparaging things against minorities and protected groups, love speech would be kind speech towards minorities and protected groups, right? Like, you would be like, I love transgender people. And everyone would be like, that is love speech. That is great. That is excellent. And then you get a blue check mark if you say a lot of things. That's sexual harassment? Well, I guess you don't necessarily have to say I love. You can say I appreciate. I appreciate transgenders. And that's love speech. What about greed speech? Is that a thing, like greed speech? Like, if we're going to go with the whole array of human emotions, like greed is a human emotion, like how would you describe that? Like greed speech. It's like, I want what black people have. Is that greed speech? Because, like, so it has to be like a protected minority group, and then you have to say something greedy about it. Like, I want the black lady which won the United States Beauty Awards. Anyway, Spooky is here. Let's talk about the football cup. Just how the fuck did America manage to win against England? Can anyone explain to me? Like, the United States doesn't care about football. I mean, they care about their own version of football. They don't care about what they call soccer. So, just so you can understand, like, the US football team used to be disqualified by random African nations. Like, this was a joke in Europe back in the day. Like, the US football team. And it makes sense. Again, like, the people from the US, they do not focus on football. And because they don't invest a lot in it, it is what it is. Right? And they would be a joke. Like, sometimes Romania beat the US soccer team within the preliminaries. Like, they didn't even qualify. So, how on earth did England... Like, England is considered to be the country when it comes to football. I mean, they have the hooligans and shit. Apparently, the hooligans were not strong enough to defeat the Qatarian forces. But still, right? So, you have these rules in moments. I start to understand why people appreciate sports. Like, for example, Brazil. Another important nation when it comes to soccer. I mean, Brazil, holy shit. They spent so many dollars on building a football stadium while their people were starving. There were actually riots on the street because of that at the time. Right? Like, they were accusing the government of corruption, of taking taxpayer money instead of feeding the people. They were building, like, this colossal stadium, which... people at the time were saying that after the the cup would be played there, no one would use it because it was too large. I don't know if that's the case, but whatever, right? So people were upset. But, like, Brazil, like, really invested. They really pumped the wealth. And they showed that they care about football. And then they got BTFO'd by Germany, 7-0. Like, just so you can understand, 7-0 is abysmal. It's like playing a League of Legends game and you lose after 7 minutes. Right? Like, it's kind of like that. So, you do have, like, these losing moments. Now, the thing with the US and England team, the England team took a knee. Of course. I mean, why not? I mean, it's the proper thing. They are virtuous people. Now, what I do notice, and this is my theory, only incompetent people virtue signal. I would like to see a counterexample of this. But what I mean by this is that if you're a good athlete, you don't need to virtue signal because your name is being carried just by how good you are. If you're a good doctor, you don't need to virtue signal because your name is carried just by what great treatment you have and how happy your patients are. If you're a person that's incompetent, if you're shit at your job, especially if you're an actor or a football player or someone like that needs to have a brand, like people need to talk about your name. They constantly need to mention you because that's how you get sponsors, that's how you get money, right? Like it's your job to become famous. So, if you're not good at your job, like if you're not good at playing football, then you have to virtue signal. You have like, what is the current thing? What do people talk about today? What are the young kids interested in? Black Lives Matter. Take a knee. So, this is why I believe that the English team won. I mean, if you're going to be like that level of woke, and by the way, like the England team, the football team, you notice a huge plummet when it comes to quality. I mean, the last time I heard about them in the papers was when they lost, and apparently some black players were getting mean tweets, and because of that, like there was a national outcry condemning racism and shit, and it's like, these are the champions, and I'm like, look, I get it that they're getting mean tweets, but they're not fucking champions, they lost. Like, one of them missed a penalty, right? And I'm pretty sure that the mean tweets weren't because of the race. The mean tweets were because he missed the fucking penalty. Now, people do tailor insults. Like, they look at a person, they analyze. At least this is how my generation used to do it. Like, this is why we were so effective at bullying people that trust and safety councils were built to keep people protected from us. Because we were so fucking good at it. Like, we knew how to crush the human spirit. We knew how to destroy a person, how to deconstruct what makes a man, and turn him into a weeping, sad, pathetic little boy crying. And then the corporations and the banks looked at us and said, like, no more. And they created the Trust and Safety Council, an army of middle-aged women to keep you guys safe from people like me. Because we knew how to tailor a goddamn insult. We would look at a person and we would analyze, and it's like, what are his insecurities? What does this person not like about themselves? And that was the fucking insult that we would put. And it landed every single goddamn time. Like sometimes, you know, it's like throwing salt at a person. Like if I throw salt at you, nothing happens, right? But if I just throw that little tinge of salt in the middle of your fucking eye, like in the middle of a fucking eye, I just landed like that. Oh, then you're in pain. And that's how I hurled my insults. Like I would tailor them like a master tailor, like crafting the perfect insult that fits on you like a fucking glove. And the older generation feared us. That was the old internet. But unfortunately, we don't have the old internet. It's an inspirational speech. Well, I'm telling you why the Trust and Safety Councils are paid so well. Without the Trust and Safety Council, there is danger. Like, can you imagine if I start insulting people again? But my point is, right, like, if you have an effeminate man, you open like alright, like what insults go for the LGBTQ community, and like you start quoting from that. It doesn't matter if he's gay or not. It's like he looks effeminate, so that's how you tailor the insult. Now, people look at it and they say it's homophobia. It's not homophobia. You look at him and you're like, what are his insecurities? What makes him tick? Like, what is the structural weakness of his character? And that's how you go. Like, boom. No mercy. Sweep the leg. Yes. Alright. Throwing salt is hate speech against ghosts? Oh yeah, the supernatural thing. Qatar is not based. Stop this cringe. No, well, here's the thing with Qatar, right? and I'll tell you why. There's a lot of simping for Qatar right now. Let me find the picture, and in a bit I shall explain it to you. the Qatar. All right, so this is something that I addressed in a previous stream, but since people have forgotten or weren't there because I streamed at a weird hour, this is Mr. Abdullah al-Nasari. Mr. Abdullah al-Nasari had one job: to keep Western ideology away from the sanctity of his football stadium, inshallah. Like, if you went there with an LGBT armband, or there were some people dressed as crusaders, if you went there with any of these things, either Mr. Abdullah al-Nasari or his minions would keep you out. And he did apparently he did the job he was paid for, because all the people that said, oh, we're going to show support for the LGBT community at the football stadium, they were not allowed in. Now, where am I going with this, right? Why are people simping for Qatar on the internet? They're not simping for Qatar because they want Sharia law in their country. They are simping for Qatar because they notice strength. Like, people are actually enamored or at least drawn to strength. Like, people who display power and strength. What do I mean by this? Well, he explained that if you want to express your views on the LGBT cause, do so in a society where it will be accepted. Do not come and insult our society. We will not change the religion for the 28 days. In other words, if you're from France, if you're from the United States, if you're from Britain, and you want to go to Qatar, you made that choice, right? When you're in Qatar, you act the way the Qatarians act. When you're in Rome, you do what the Romans tell you, right? It was your choice to go there. And that is fucking sensible. Like, the problem is that the opposite isn't true, right? Because you have, like, people from the Middle East going to the West, and when they're in the West, they do not, like, whenever they have, like, a value that is contradictory, like, for example, in France, right? Like, in France, you have a secular nation, a secular republic, and they do not allow the wearing of religious signifiers in public spaces. So they do not allow the burqa to be worn in a public space. They do not allow a rosemary or a crucifix to be worn in a public space. That's their fucking law. Right now, if you want to go to France, you know that. But if you go there and you start doing activism and you stir shit and blah, 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 right? Is the French government going to take a firm stance and defend their values and say, no, you're in France, we do this now? Well, lately they are, but before 2016, they weren't. Right? Britain is the same. Like, Britain doesn't care. Like, if their culture is being challenged by a different culture, you know, like the things that do not contradict are fine. But, like, if you have things that are contradictory, then Britain is going to back down. So they're showing weakness. So what people respect is not Qatar itself. Is the fact that they know what their values are. They know what makes a Qatarian. And they are trying to impose respect on people who visit. Whether they're tourists, whether they're immigrants, whether, like, if you visit in Qatar, this is our culture. We know who we are. We are Qatarians, and you're going to behave like a respectable person towards us, right? Because you're in our home. It's kind of like if you visit a friend's house, you're not allowed to rearrange his furniture so that it looks more comfortable to what your house appears. Now, in the West, it's not the same. Like, people in Britain do not know what British people are. Like, this is actually a question that they struggle with. Like, I read it in The Guardian and the BBC constantly. Like, what does it mean to be an English? What does it mean to be a British? Right? So they don't know who they are. They don't know what their culture is. They do not value their culture to the point where they can make an argument why their culture is better than other places, right? And you can even make a progressive argument. They can say, well, because we're tolerant, we champion human rights, we do blah, blah, blah. They don't have this shit, right? Like, they don't know how to explain this. They don't know what it means to be a Brit. And when they're challenged by other cultures, they back down. So they display weakness. And this is why the internet is simping for Qatar. It's not because they believe Qatar is superior to the United Kingdom. It's not because they would like to live in Qatar or that they would like the ideology of Qatar to be there. No, it's just the aspect of strength. And it's the same thing with Russia, why people on the internet, they like Putin, right? It's the same thing. Like, they wouldn't live in Russia. Like, you wouldn't have an American traveling to Russia right now and wanting to move there. But they do appreciate the fact that they know what a Russian is. They defend their culture ideologically. And they make the argument that, no, like, this is the way we are going to behave because we're Russians. Why am I streaming at 8 and 11? When do you want me to stream? Qatar rules are tough. But the thing is, like, if you look at progressive ideology, right? One of the things that they consider to be the most cruel is colonialism, right? Like, colonialism is so bad that even if you have like a video game coming out which has a colonial theme, you're going to get Kotaku and Polygon screaming about it and being very upset. It's like, why are they doing this? Blah, 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 blah. Right? So they don't like colonialism. And one of the things they hate about colonialism is the concept of spreading Christianity to the uncivilized. Like, the progressives do not like that concept at all. It's like, well, why would the Christians go and spread their values to other places? That is so horrible. But what they're trying to do right now is literally the same shit. Like, America used to go around and spread democracy, right? Because that's a Western value. Now they were going around and they were spreading diversity, inclusion, and equity because that's what the current American value is. And it's like, it just doesn't fucking work. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, what does work is when America, for example, rebuilt Japan. Like, America didn't go into Japan and started forcing them to have their values, right? They even allowed the emperor to keep the throne. No, but like, they helped Japan economically. They made economic ties with Japan, and they managed to enlighten Japan by leaving them the fuck alone so that they can develop their own culture without meddling. And I do consider that Japan is a great culture. South Korea, same shit. Right? Like, just allow the countries to develop their own cultures on their own fucking pace. Stop meddling. Stop interfering, because you're not going to succeed. I don't know a single example where the United States went somewhere and said, we're going to impose our way of life, and it actually worked. Even if you think that your way of life is better, and it probably is, on many reasons, right? Trying to impose it on a different group of people under the gun, like you bring your military there and you start imposing it, or even subversively, it doesn't work. Like that it's just... Anyway, economy isn't culture. I know economy isn't culture. But what I am saying is that if you improve people economically, then they may want to know about your culture, right? So like you pick the way it is, like you pick the people's curiosity to learn about you. You don't force it down their throats, right? Like if you live, for example, why do Romania like the European Union? Well, they like them because they improved the lifestyle of Romania, like economically, to the point where like people notice that their life is improving, and then they were like, okay, well, let's learn about the West. Let's learn about capitalism. This was back in the day when the European Union was actually more, for referendums, for actual democracy, grassroots, and that type of shit. But anyway, right? My point is, why do people want to learn about Japan? Like, the reason people want to learn about Japan is because the anime is good, right? They don't stuff anime down your throat. They're not coming and forcing you to watch the anime. But like, in a world where everything is shit, where all the entertainment is bad, and you have like anime which is actually serviceable, people start watching that, and then they want to learn more about Japan. They want to go like, oh, maybe I can travel there. Maybe I can learn about their way of life. Maybe I can learn about their culture. That's how you do it. Like, you use the honey, you don't use the vinegar. Japan made sure they left no work for Qatar slaves. Japan. Yeah. So the thing with Japan is that they behaved in such a nice way. But this is like the difference between the cultural differences, right? So it's very beautiful when you watch it, but you wouldn't be able to have it in the West. Like, you wouldn't be able to have like the same mentality in the United States or even England. So after the match, people from Japan, they like the people who went there, they cleaned up, so the fans remained in the stadium and they made it fucking spotless. They did the same in the locker room. Meanwhile, people in the West, they will go talk about the environment, and they will go somewhere on a beach. Like this happens in England especially. So they will go and they will talk about saving the environment, saving the planet. And when they leave, it's a disaster. It's an ecological disaster. Like, just plastic everywhere, food thrown away, waste everywhere, right? And this is the difference, right? Because they have the type of culture that when they are raised at home, they know that, for example, when you enter someone's house, you take your fucking shoes off. Right? Even if it's a public place, like you go into a public bath or so, you take your shoes off. Like that is the first thing. If you don't do that, it's considered a huge insult to the guest. Right? So they have like everything organized. They have like their little shoes for that you can wear in someone's house. You're not allowed to wear the shoes that you came from outside. So that's just one example. But like when you have a culture that's focused around your duty to the community, this is what you get. What duty to the community do people from the US have, huh? They have a duty to their democracy and make sure that they report naughty people on Twitter. But like the concept of having like a duty for those around you to not bother the people around you, that doesn't exist. Thank you, Corrado Almani. I appreciate it. Apparently the house slippers are called wabaki. Oh, the more I learn. I'd rather destroy the environment for cheaper prices. They left gifts for the cleaning slaves in the... Hold on. Japanese. And by the way, did you see that the Japanese, they didn't go to Qatar to start shit? That's another thing. You know, like I would consider the Japanese culture to be superior. Then, like, I would rather live in Japan than live in Qatar. And their human rights track, far better in Japan than in Qatar. But the Japanese people, their supporters didn't go there to lecture the Qatarians. They didn't go there in order to start talking shit. And this is not just in Qatar. So this is a picture from 2018. After the Japanese lost. And this is how their locker room looks like. Like, they cleaned it up. No one else does this. Like, no other team does it. But, like, look at this. It's fucking spotless. I can eat from the ground. Like, it looks so good. I would just put the food... I would put the steak right here. And I would fucking eat it. And I would be confident that I'm not going to get sick. You can literally lick off that floor. Let me see if I can find another one. Oh, yeah, here you go. This is the Japanese dressing room after losing to Belgium in the 94th minute. Thanked their fans in the stadium, cleaned up everything, and spoke to the media. Even left a note thank you in Russian. What an example for all teams. Because like that entire culture is built around making it good for other people. Right? Like being, it's not being nice. Being less disruptive. I think this is the correct way of framing it. Like, being as less disruptive as possible for other people. And, you know, that seems like a huge task. Like, it seems very difficult. But when everyone behaves like that, you would want to live in that place. Like if you're in a place where every single neighbor is constantly concerned about how not to bother their other neighbor, then that is a good neighborhood to live in. Even if it's difficult, right? Because now you have to be considerate. You're like... Oh shit, well it's very warm outside, it's very hot inside, I don't have air conditioning. I should open the window, but it's 10 p.m. and I'm playing music and I might bother the neighbor, so I guess I just have to sit with the window closed. Right? Like, they have inconveniences, but other people care about you as well, so that's the other aspect. Japanese culture is a strange form of willing collectivism where everyone sort of agrees to be ultra considerate. Yeah, exactly. Like, everyone is ultra considerate to the point where if you talk at the phone in a bus, that is considered very rude. Right? Like, they have like all of these things. I mean, the concept of littering is also considered very rude. Their walls are so thin, they have to be considerate. Yeah. Japan has no communism problem. They do have like the Communist Party of Japan. Japan has a serious seniority problem. There's also like the respect that Japanese people have towards the elders. Now, let me talk to you about the whole seniority problem and the whole winter demographic and all of this shit. There are two problems with it. So the first problem is the welfare. And the welfare is what causes all of this economic damage. It's because the welfare is like a Ponzi scheme. Like, you always need more young people than you have old in order for the young people to pay taxes so that the elderly can have free healthcare and pension and all of that, right? And this is not sustainable at any level. Like, eventually, you will reach a time where you do not have enough working people to pay welfare for the ones that can't work. And, of course, governments are trying different solutions, like, for example, immigration and whatnot. The reason we are at this point is because of World War II. Like, after World War II, when the soldiers came home, they fucked like no tomorrow. And some of the soldiers fucked even before coming home, like the Red Army in Berlin. Now, because of that, you have the baby boomers. And you have like this massive explosion of human beings that we will probably never get so in the future, right? Like, we will never reach the huge number of people that we have today in a couple of generations. So this is the two issues that are the problem: the baby boomers and the welfare system. Japan's Communist Party are constant losers and not very communist. Well, yeah, but again, you don't need to have like a lot of say. Like, the fact that it is there, like, it can be financed by outside forces in order to make it more powerful. When I worked in Japan, senior partners were blatant to use their age to bully people around. Well, yeah, but like, think about it this way, you know, because it seems unfair. Like, oh, you have this elderly person bullying people around. When you're young, you also get bullied, right? So I guess in a way it's fair. Like, I guess in a way you are going to end up being older. And let me put it this way. If you go at the workplace, obviously the people with seniority, they know more shit than you. So it's good to shut the fuck up. Like, even when as a doctor, when I went to a hospital, right? And I finished med school. 6 years of my fucking life, right? And you have the nurse coming on. And the nurse, you know, she did nursing school for 4 years. And she probably studied less than half than what I did. But when the nurse came in there, I shut the fuck up. Why? Because she was working in the hospital for 20 years. She was an old lady. She knew her shit. And if I wanted to contradict her, well, I better make sure that my gun was cocked before I would go and have the argument. Right? Like, I would just, every time she would say something, I would be like, well, I don't think that's true, but I should fact check it first before speaking. And many times, like, she was true, or at least if she was wrong, like, she could say, yeah, I know what the literature says about such and such, but from the practical experience and the way we do it in our hospital, it is done, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, you know. But what I'm trying to say is that seniority does matter. Like, you can be overly educated, and you can be 6 years in med school, and you have this nurse that has only done 4 years, and she knows more than you. So it kind of makes sense that people with a venerable age should get more respect. Seniority doesn't always correlate with skill. Well, of course, you know that there's always exceptions, but in most part, like, if you are working at a field for 20 years, chances are you know more than the person that just walked through the door. Reason California companies are the way they are is their lack of respect towards the elders. Oh, well, elders get fired. Like, you have these diversity officers and they constantly talk about race and gender. No one talks about age, right? And ageism. Why? Because corporations do not want elderly people. Because you have to pay them more, right? And they work less. So an elderly person doesn't have the same stamina, the same drive as a young person. And if you didn't manage to raise yourself through the corporate ladder by the time you're 35, you're in big trouble. Like no one is going to want to hire the 35-year-old when they can hire the younger person. Hold on. There's a chat bot that I need to. There we go. It's not like you'd rather listen to the old vet than the old hippie. It's just like you gotta pay them more. That's the main problem. So anyway, let's look at the list of people that should be banned according to activists, experts. By the way, like there was a hilarious take. I think it was from Bloomberg. Let me see if I can find the article. I don't have it right now, but it was something like this from Bloomberg saying that experts say that Elon Musk has inherited the child abuse problem of Twitter, but under him it was made worse. And I'm thinking, like, what experts? Like child abuse experts? Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, who are these experts? You keep seeing the media going experts. Who are they? Who? And they have like expertise in such bizarre fields. It's like experts in online hate. What the fuck is that? Is that even a thing? I mean, at this point, I can be a masturbatory expert. But even then, it's like, when you say expert, are we really talking about expertise and competence? With people that have nothing bad happening to them if they're wrong? You know, like you have these people that are making all of these terms of service and all of these additional policies. And when these services are proven to be gone, the world isn't collapsing. You know, like these are the experts, the ones that were promoting the lockdowns because billions of people are going to pass away. And when that didn't happen, like Ferguson from the UK, like Ferguson predicted tens of millions of deaths or some shit like that. And when that didn't happen, was he fired? No. Right? Like, what are we talking about? The experts. From what I gathered, like an expert is just a propaganda mouthpiece working for the government. Right? Like whatever party is in charge, they are going to hire their own experts that push their agenda. But it's not about expertise anymore. In a way, we are experts in online hate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm an expert in online hate more than any of the experts that write in the media. I guarantee to you this. Like, I probably know slurs, innuendo, and dog whistles that those experts in online hate have never heard about. Yeah, this way, you're an expert because in the last 8 years you played gaming. No, like, if you want to be an expert in gaming, you need to get a job at Kotaku or Polygon. You need to get a job at one of those gaming publications, and then you become an expert in gaming, right? Even though you're the same person. Like, one day, when you're not working for Kotaku, you're just a nobody. But after you landed the job, you become an expert. That's how you become an expert. In anything. You work for the media. Or for the academia. I am an expert role, of course. Political commissar. Yes, like this is what the experts are nowadays. Not all of them, obviously. But the overwhelming majority. Like, I'm probatia et diabolica. Like, you need to prove that you're not that type of expert. Anyway, what the fuck did I do with the here we go. Let's see the worst Twitter offenders. Dun dun dun. Now, what I love is, like, they're complaining that Elon Musk is allowing people to come back on Twitter, right? And I haven't seen a single person that they're complaining about who's a scammer. Like here is this scammer, which he used to be on Twitter, and he scammed people out of their livelihoods. Because, like, the thing is, Elon says it's like, well, as long as if it's not illegal. Like, how the fuck does he know? Because if you're going to give general amnesty to people, like, we're talking about tens of thousands of accounts, probably more. How do you know, like, which one of those were banned for illegal stuff? Like, how can you tell? Where is the bottleneck? Anyway. Good one on the Japanese. If I see people cleaning, I always start helping as well. I don't do that. If I see people cleaning, I'm like, why the fuck are you cleaning? I already pay taxes. Like, you pay taxes. The government robbed you. The government is owed to provide the service. Instead of cleaning, let's go protest the government. If the government wants me to clean, stop taxing me. Stop taxing me and I'll clean. I swear to fucking God. Alright. Many people have said that due to the amnesty, they're going to get at least 1,000 accounts back. And like, really? 1,000 accounts? Like, dude, you don't know the level of hate speech that I'm capable of. And I'm like, oh, I see. Like, just burner accounts after burner accounts. So, the first one, dum dum dum. We all knew this was coming. But Musk, over the weekend announcement that he was going to give former President Donald Trump his once favorite toy back, was still blisteringly stupid. What is blisteringly stupid? Who wrote this shit? Gizmodo. Is to ban a politician. That is so fucking stupid. So you have a politician that almost half the nation voted for, and you're telling those people, because the thing is, you're not banning the politician. You're telling those people that they don't matter. Like, you're literally telling all those people that want to listen, you say you don't have a right to listen. Because we're the corporation and we know more. And Elon Musk doesn't want to do business this way. Like Elon Musk wants to be inclusive. I mean, it's so fucking bad for business. The man even started his own social media company. Like, he took away Twitter users. But again, this is why Twitter was being bankrupt. Like, and I understand why Jack Dorsey couldn't do anything, because now it makes sense. Like, I didn't know Twitter was $4 billion in debt. Like, holy shit. That's a lot of debt. And the reason is, like, he was just getting money from investors. Like, you had investors that had a political interest in not having Twitter profitable, but having Twitter as a megaphone. And now it makes perfect sense. Here is the troll toll for streaming at a late hour. I can join for live. Thank you, Fallen Shadow. I appreciate it. When they say expert, they mean clergy. Yeah, pretty much. They only speak truth-based, and their word is sacrosanct. The directives are handled from the cardinals, the various elites, and enforced through the excommunication. Yeah, like, pretty much. Like, they actually do have an inquisition. It's an entire industry. I mean, Tucker Carlson talked about it. It's a $1 million industry just based on censorship. So anyway. After close, by the way, like, they keep saying that Elon Musk keeps getting right-wingers back. This is a bigger own on them rather than on Elon Musk. Like, there were more leftist accounts banned than there were more right-wing accounts banned than left-wing. I don't know many left-wing accounts that got banned on Twitter, to be honest. Like, I'm thinking really hard. Maybe The Amazing Atheist, he got banned, and, you know, like, H3, but like, people who got permanently banned, like what would have happened? I'll tell you what would have happened. You would have had a leftist account that got banned for legitimate reasons, like hate speech, right? And they would make pressure, and they would push for the social media and blah, blah, blah to reinstate them, and then they would get reinstated. That's what happens. Oh, the stop war accounts. Yeah, the stop war accounts, those were a thing. They were the actual leftists that did get banned. But the thing is, like, the stop war accounts, they didn't have enough sway. They didn't manage to gather enough of an audience in order to create a backlash. And I'll give you the names, just shut the fuck up. If I give you the names now, why would you keep watching the stream? I need to be entertaining, goddammit. This is how you do it in showbiz. You don't spill the beans from the beginning. What rules did Donald Trump break during his predecessor? Tons. But on January 8th, Platform finally suspended his account following the Capitol insurrection because he could mobilize people for violence. So this is what Gizmodo says. And I'll show you something, right? We go on Twitter. We go onto Donald Trump's account, which is now unbanned. And this is why they didn't want the account banned, by the way. And the last speech that he gave is this. Give me a second so I can... Right? Gizmodo says that Donald Trump got banned for inciting January 6th and doing the riots. Sorry, not the riot, the insurrection. And this is from January 6th, right? Like the 2021. This is the tweet. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are on the side of this, right? That doesn't correlate with the fact that they're saying, oh well, he was inciting to violence, right? Like, this is on Twitter. You can find it right now. You can go on his tweet. These are the last tweets that he issued before the thing was taken down. And it's from January 6, 2021. Remain peaceful. Like, look, this is what I say. Remain peaceful. And Gizmodo literally is saying that, well, he was suspended because he was inciting to violence. Naruhodo? The experts, right? But my narrative, yeah. People actually checking, and you're not going to find those accounts if you Google those tweets. Like those tweets, if you Googled before he got his account back, you would not find them, unless you use DuckDuckGo and or the Internet Wayback Machine. Like they were very difficult to find. That's why they wanted it banned. It contradicted the narrative. I don't know. But like what I do know is that even now that it's unbanned, they still lie about it. Right? And you can objectively just go there and see how much they lie. This one is the Babylon Bee. Oh, no. So again, worst Twitter policy offenders Elon Musk is giving free rein to. A satirical website. Right? Man, I'm pretty sure they're going to have some people here which are questionable, and some people that are going to be, yeah, you know, like I wouldn't want to share a dinner with this guy. But when you start with, like, first one, an outright lie, and the next one is a satirical website, you kind of lost me. And by the way, this is the reason that allegedly Elon Musk wanted to buy Twitter. Because he did it until he saw the Babylon Bee getting banned. A satirical website. So the Babylon Bee is what happens when a few angry, unfunny, unempathetic right-wingers try to do Onion-style fake journalism. It's not fake journalism, you twats. It's comedy, number one. Number two, you can't say it's unfunny when they have millions of subscribers. Like here's the thing that I don't get about the left. Like, when I look at someone that I don't like, Vosh, for instance, right? I don't agree with the man's takes. I don't agree with his politics. But I can't say he's a failure because I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, okay, well, he's got so many people watching. Like, clearly he knows what he's doing. I don't agree with him. I think he's wrong. But I can't say he's a failure, right? Or that he's not entertaining. I mean, he's not entertaining for me. But, like, when you look at the objective fact and you're like, okay, well, he's got, like, so many viewers. Same with Hassan Piker. You know, you can say whatever you want about Hassan Piker, but like he is an entertainer. He's got like tens of thousands of people watching, objectively. So like when you're reading stuff like this, it's like the Babylon Bee, which again, maybe you don't find their jokes funny. And they're angry. Like, how do you know they're angry? I think they're very happy because they're making a lot of money. Unempathetic. Who cares about empathy? Like, I want to get empathy from my mother and my children. I don't give a shit about strangers' empathy. The fuck is this? Get empathy from your family. Especially in a culture that encourages empathy. Like, there's a lot of fakeness going on. There's a lot of fake empathy. I would rather have a cynical person than have a fake empath. When you have a culture that values empathy, like, there's going to be so much fake empathy going on, it's unreal. I would rather just have someone cynical that's like, tell me what you can do for me and I'll tell you what I can do for you type of people, you know? So anyway, none of their jokes land because they're unfunny people, but mostly because they routinely punch down. This is another thing. It's like punching down isn't funny. Who agreed to this? Comedy is comedy. Like, sometimes it can be funny, sometimes it can be. It really depends. I don't know. So weird. Like, oh, you need to punch up. You need to punch up. And not to mention, it's like, okay, so when you have, like, every corporation in the United States claiming to be woke or having, like, diversity, inclusion, equity, like, left-leaning agendas, at the time, the House, the Senate, and the White House, they were all under Democrats. How the fuck can you say that making fun of the left is punching down? How can you say that with a fucking straight face at this point? Babylon Bee had its account suspended after they referred to trans women Rachel Levine as their pick for Man of the Year, which is obviously an attempt at misgendering someone. Oh no. Harsh words and criticisms. Why can't Rachel Levine say something back to the Babylon Bee? That's my question. But no, apparently no, like, it's dangerous. It's hard. Oh my god, they misgendered someone. I see. You know, like, this is the thing with the internet. Like, Twitter used to be a completely different universe than the real world. Like the elites, through the power of censorship, have created like this fictional universe, this fictional Californian bubble, which they consider to be the real world. If you actually went out and you spoke with a taxi driver, or you spoke with your hairstylist, or you spoke with your plumber and asked him about misgendering, you would get a response that would give you a terms of service violation on Twitter. Like, you can do this experiment right now even. You know, like, just wherever you are. Talk with your cab driver, with your taxi driver, with your hairstylist. Go into a rural area and speak with the people there. Ask them about misgendering, what they think and how bad it is. And you're going to see that their results do not correspond with what people think online. Oh no, sexist tropes. Oh my god. So basically, the only reason these are the worst policy offenders is because they were making fun of left-wing people. Like, you're acting the same way Christians would act when the atheists were a thing. They get physical reaction from any criticism. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you know, like, you should be able to criticize, especially when this thing with trans women in sports, this was a controversy at the time. Like, there were different people on both sides of the arguments. Like, to pretend that, no, there is no controversy, this is the correct thing. It's like, yeah, but like, half the nation doesn't agree with you. Yeah, but no, I'm right. I'm going to ban everyone that I disagree with. And then you pissed off a person that was more powerful than you and more rich than you, who decided, you know what? I'm going to buy this company. And I'm going to inflict my will upon you. And what are you going to do about it? Well, they're going to cry about it. This is literally what happened. Like, this is why Elon Musk decided to buy Twitter. Because they banned the Babylon Bee. Like, this is literally, if we are to believe. Anyway. Another person. Kanye. You know, I realized that Kanye, and I may be wrong with this, but I think it stands for Kang Ye. So, King Ye. Huh? Like, is this what the nickname means? Like, King Ye? But anyway. Yeah, about the Jewish thing. I agree with the late night comedian. Fuck, I forgot his name. But he came out recently. And he said exactly what I'm thinking about. Censorship doesn't fix anti-Semitism. Like, first of all, the bar for anti-Semitism is very low right now. I mean, Dave Chappelle got in trouble because he made a couple of jokes. A couple of years ago, this wasn't the case. I mean, you had South Park, which constantly made jokes about Jewish people. I remember the episode where Kyle had a bag of gold around his neck. And, this wasn't just South Park. Like, jokes about Jewish people are prevalent in American media in the 90s. And even after that, like, you have Homer Simpson. Like the Simpson family. Let me show you something, right? Like, hold on. I'll show you what I mean. Just so you can understand the cultural differences between them and now. I think it was called Flossback. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I need to get through the commercial first. And then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so this is from The Simpsons on mainstream television 6 years ago.
Be good? Why did you get us diversity kittens on Melting Pot Mountain?
It's more fun to play with a ball of yarn if it has all the colors in it.
And yarn should be allowed to marry dental floss.
This is The Simpsons! This is the fucking Simpsons! on mainstream television, right? Like, if you did something like this today on Twitter, the ADL would have your ass. Like, so just so you can understand, right? Like, the level of what is anti-Semitism today is completely different than what it used to be in the past. Right? So, when you lower the level so much, yeah, you're going to find out more anti-Semites. Now, in the case of dealing with this issue, like, okay, let's say that, well, we're more progressive now, we're more, we're different, so we're going to have, like, different rules and stuff. The solution isn't to censor people who disagree, right? Because, again, there was a late-night comedian, I forgot his name. But he said, a couple of days ago, he said that in the case of Irving, a famous basketball player, right, a sports person, he said that, according to him, he believes that there's too many Jewish people in positions of power, or something like that. I don't know, like some far-left nonsense, like identity. It's like there's too many cisgender, straight white people in positions of power, but he then completed that he said that, no, well, actually, it's a subcategory of that. And he got into trouble. And he wanted to donate $500 million he wanted, 500 million? Or 5 million. How much did he want to donate to the ADL? Let me see. So, $500,000. So Kevin Irving wanted to donate $500,000 to the ADL, and they said no, right? So basically, he was told that he can't compete for the season, and it's like, so your mentality is that you're not going to compete this season. You're going to sit down and shut the fuck up until you realize that Jewish people do not control positions of power. How does that work? Like that no, you need to talk with the person, use arguments, talk to them. And, see what their grievances are and then address them. You can't just censor the problem and it's going to go away. You're putting it under the fucking rug, right? So this is why you have people like Kanye. Because you're going to just keep censoring more and more and more, and the public gets upset because, again, like Kanye, he's got his own fan base, he's got his own people that are following him, and you're telling those people that they're not allowed to follow the celebrity that they like, right? And it's like you're enraging them, you're making them upset. And then Kanye has other friends from within the industry, and they're going to come out and they're going to experience the same shit. Censorship makes it worse. What you need to do is to actually, invite Kanye to a talk show. You get experts from the ADL. If the ADL has something like that, people who can actually debate. I don't know if they still have them because I haven't seen debates happening. But you get some people that are good at debating. You put them against Kanye, and then you dismantle his arguments if you can. That's what you should do. But they're not doing that. So of course, you keep getting, these worst offenders are coming back. And by the way, Kanye didn't even get banned for anti-Semitism. Kanye got banned for saying the N-word. I just want to put it out there. Like, again, the article lies about it. Yes, Kanye got suspended for saying the fucking N-word. Which, technically, he should. Like, with the terms of service the way they are, you're not allowed to say slurs. If you can't say the N-word, then don't say it. If I can go through life without saying it, so can Kanye. Whatever happened to the Parler deal, I think he actually owns it. You aren't allowed to tell people that we control what people are allowed to say. Yeah, pretty much. And then they go Pikachu face. It's like, why isn't this working? Like, why are people still anti-Semitic? Another person, Congresswoman Marjorie Troller Greene. Marjorie Troller Greene wouldn't even have this publicity if the media wouldn't constantly show her. Like, you don't understand how this works. Many people dislike the media because they lie to them. As I pointed out previously, like 2 major lies in this article, right? People don't like that. So people dislike the media. And when the media dislikes a person, people just start supporting that person just to stick it to the media. I genuinely think there are many people who voted for Troller Greene just because they're like, well, the media doesn't like her, so I'm going to vote for her. Right? And so, with that out of the way, the idea of banning a public official seems abhorrent to me. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, they're a public official. Let's let's assume that the public official does something bad, right? Like, let's say that they genuinely have like a very bad take on something. If people don't hear it, how will they know not to vote for that official in the future? Like, and it's like, oh, well, the experts will tell them. But the people don't trust the experts. The people trust what's in front of their eyes. Like, let the person say the shit. If they're literally that bad, surely they're going to say a lot of bad stuff. And then people are going to stop voting for them. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is a very interesting character. I mean, it's like he's misogynistic. I don't follow his videos. I don't know his views. But let's assume he's misogynistic, right? He has been on the internet for, I believe it's a decade by now, like give or take, right? Like it's kind of with the, they didn't have a problem with him until he started speaking against the pandemic measures. At least that's how I view things. Like all of a sudden, the people were talking about Andrew Tate. It's like, what the fuck is this guy? Why are you talking about him? Like, who cares? Oh my god, well, he's on TikTok and like, alright. But like, is he a danger to anyone? Did anyone got hurt? Because no, but he's spouting. Okay. It's like he's a misogynist. Do you know how many misogynists there are in the real world? I mean, it's not like he's an abusive drunk father or anything. I don't care, right? So like my use of Twitter as a platform, I don't give a shit if I don't even follow him. But like, you're making me curious at this point. It's like, why this particular guy? When there's so many misogynists to go around, like why this particular one? Jordan Peterson. The moment, like, this is how you can tell if someone is an extremist. Like, any person which, and I'm not talking dislikes, but like views Jordan Peterson as a threat, is an authoritarian person. Like, they want to control people. Because Jordan Peterson's whole shtick is that you shouldn't let others control you. You should empower yourself. Right? Like, you should clean up your room, as in get your life in order. Improve yourself as a person so you can take care of others. That's his worldview. And if everyone does that, it would create a better country, right? But the people who are the activists, who are banking on identity politics, like basically, all of this group is now a community, and I get to speak on behalf of the community as if I was elected, and I am the word of God. Like, when you're arguing with me, you're not arguing with me, you're arguing with the community, right? Like, these people do not like Jordan Peterson. They hate him. Because, like, they're telling people, it's like, no, there is no such thing as a community. There's different individuals that want and desire different things, and you as a person should stop listening to activists, and you should start improving yourself. Basically, the correct thing to tell to an activist is to fuck off. And I will tell you why. If it's a person that legitimately cares about you, and it's a person that you care about, you're not going to tell them to fuck off, right? You're not going to tell fuck off to your mom, your dad, your boss, your teacher, like people that literally have a reason to have an authority over you. Like, you're not going to be rude to them. But to some random twat on the internet that you never know, that gets to speak on your behalf, that if you are stuck in a ditch would never give you a single dollar to help you out, yeah, you should tell them to fuck off. They don't know you. Why are they telling you how to live your life? And it's not that they're telling you as a suggestion. No, they're telling you that this is how you should live your life. And what you should do. And this is the difference between Jordan Peterson and activists. He doesn't claim that you need to live by his 10 rules of life, or 20 at this point. He's basically saying, like, if you behave like this, according to studies, you're going to have a better life. Like, he's not going to tell you, no, like, this is the way to live. Anyone that lives differently is wrong. You know, like, he doesn't do that. So any person that dislikes Peterson with a unreasonable amount of hatred, like, I'm not saying if you say, well, you know what he says, I don't care about it, like, that's fine. No. People that, like, he's a danger to society. Like, those people, they're insane. Like, he is the benchmark. Whether or not you're a person that has anything worthwhile to say or not. What religion does Jordan Peterson practices? I don't know. I think he's a Christian, but I don't know if he's a Catholic or not. Suddenly, racism is no longer privilege plus power. Oh. Maybe. Oh yeah, with the Kanye thing, I get it. I I remember the whole start of the Jordan Peterson stuff. It was overreaction for the Jordan Peterson. He said that he doesn't like the fact that people are enforced to say the pronouns, right? So he said that if he has a person, a student, which identifies as a woman, like he is going to respect that person's identity and he's not going to create stuff. But he is against the concept of enforced speech. So he understood the concept of censorship, but he said that never in the history of Canada were you forced to say something, right? So that was his problem, enforced speech. The left attacked him, and he said that it's going to come to a point where if you don't enforce the speech, like if you don't say the correct things, you may get up with a fine or you may end up getting up in prison. And it turns out that years later, he was fucking right. Right? All the activists, they laughed and they said, no, that he's exaggerating and blah, 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 blah. He was right. So, this is why people like him and this is why activists don't understand. Like, people enjoy individuals that make accurate predictions. And believe it or not, people actually remember. Hello, Tomo. People actually remember when a prediction is true or not. So, if you constantly make predictions and you're wrong time and time again, people stop listening to you. But if you make predictions that are accurate, then you get a large following. Jordan Peterson is Anglican? I see. Oh my fucking God. Oh no. How will the internet recover? Man, so we're 8 out of 11 people. And so far, I haven't seen a Nazi. I haven't seen a person that's like, oh my God, well, this is a danger to society. Right? Like, I haven't seen anyone. It's like, oh no, Carl Benjamin. Oh, he might come back on Twitter. Oh, what will he do? Oh, yeah, he can post on his YouTube channel or on his newspaper that he created himself. British YouTuber who goes by the name of Sargar of Akkad has had a hate relationship with the platform he's on for a while now. The right-wing vlogger got his start in the misogynistic online harassment campaign known as Gamergate. He's since been known for his unbelievably dumb takes on subjects ranging from feminism to politics. In 2016, politician Jeff Phillips said that she received rape threats from men online. How did Benjamin respond? He tweeted, "I wouldn't even rape you." So, the whole shtick was that at the time, the internet was actually uncensored. Like, you didn't have trusted safety councils or anything. Like, people could actually say whatever they wanted. And there was a push from the activists, as well as certain British politicians, to censor the internet. And they would come, like Jess Phillips had this whole thing, reclaiming the internet, it was called. And she wanted to create trusted safety councils and make it illegal for people to say offensive stuff on the internet. Right? So this is why, at the time, Sargar of Akkad tweeted this, which I think it was dumb and stupid. But being an activist, you have to get your name out there. Right now, if you're an activist that works for the establishment, that's fine. You're going to get prime time on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. If you're an activist that's grassroots, you have to do stupid stuff, like gluing yourself next to a famous art painting or some shit in order to get... And I want to point out, right, like, the activists who glue themselves over, like, who go paintings or... blocked the streets, or there were a couple of activists which blocked the German airport and caused air traffic problems, right? Those get to have their social media accounts. Like, even though they cause millions of dollars in damages in total, like blocking highways and blocking airports and stuff, right? They still get to have their social media accounts. But someone that makes an edgy joke online, oh my God, well, he's too dangerous. He was banned from the platform for violating the rules of abuse. He came back under new account names. 5 years in exile is a long time, he said. A lot has changed. We're in a different world now and I'm a different man. Things will be different, he said. I don't know who this lady is. I assume she's really bad. I love these types of articles where they show you people that you've never seen in your fucking life. And they're like, this is a bad person. This is why you need to dislike them. This is what they did. They're bad. What did she... Oh, she's an anti-vax. Oh my God. No. Texas kids and anti-LGBT groups are coming. You know that these groups, they exist in the real world, right? Like, you know that even if you ban them, from online, like they still exist. Like if you're not going to have the conversation, I mean, look at this. This is a grandma. This is a fucking grandma. Like this grandma scares you. Like you have every single corporation in the United States and politician hoisting the progressive flag. And this grandma is the last bastion of resistance. Like this is, at least show me a picture with like some muscular guy with a bald head or some shit. Like try to scare me. You're showing me a grandma. This is ridiculous. I don't even know who the face is. This the grandpa? Is this like her husband? Oh no, like they're so scary. Oh my god, no, like oh god, and that's it. That's fucking. These are the people. My god, you could have shown me. I don't know, like someone from the Daily Stormer or some shit. You could have shown me like some actual. You know, like a person that I could see. Yeah, like this is going to definitely be problematic. This is journalism, by the way. Like this is what they like. The level of fear mongering. They ran out of fear. They want to monger, but they have no more fear. She looks infinitely wise. I don't know. It's just like you get these weird articles usually on the BBC. Like the BBC is very professional at doing these types of coverage. So the BBC will get some people you've never seen about, you've never heard about in any other context unless the BBC covered them, and be like, this is a bad person. This is why you need to hate them. This article offends me. Sargon can't be right wing because he's a filthy atheist. Man, with that logic, you're not going to have many right wingers. No wonder you're going to keep losing elections. I think that's kind of it. Sargon's public town hall chats were amazing. Example of real life interactions. Yeah, like Sargon would actually go to places where you have protesters or places that there was a debate and actually talk with people, but not the way the media talks with people. So the media, the way they talk with people is different. If there's a protest they want to support, right? So let's say, I don't know, climate change or whatever. If it's that type of protest, they will have like an activist on the scene that already knows the question, and they will appear very professional and they will say the things, right? If it's a protest they don't want to support, like let's say the trucker protest or whatnot, they will go to the guy that's suffering from leukemia and doesn't have hair on his head and looks like Devin Tracy, and they're going to interview him because he looks like a Nazi. And they're going to take like the most unhinged people on the scene. Like if they have a protest with 10,000 people, they're going to spend probably 3 or 4 hours to find the most unhinged individual that says the most stupid stuff, and that's the person they're going to interview. Sargon didn't do that. Like he would just go and interview random people that wanted to talk with him, and he would show all of the footage. And that's the difference between citizen journalism and corporate journalism. I think Jordan Peterson is less trustworthy now. You shouldn't trust anyone, man. You shouldn't trust me either. The reason you should listen for people and what they have to say is to get you to start asking questions and think for yourself. You shouldn't trust a person just because they tell you something. You should actually fact check it. You should know how to fact check and filter information through your brain. If someone tells you something that looks interesting, you should do a little bit of research in order to find out if it's true or not. You shouldn't just like, oh, well, I trust this person unequivocally, and whatever they say is true. So, like Jordan Peterson, up until now, he was trustworthy, but now he isn't. Like, you shouldn't think like that. You shouldn't trust anyone is the most Romanian thing I have ever seen. But it's so fucking true, man. It is so true. Like, why would you trust someone? And it depends, like, it depends with what you're trusting them with. Like, if it's minor stuff, yeah, but like, trusting a person to think for you is the dumbest thing that I have ever heard. Like, getting a person to think on your behalf. Why would you do that? You should be able to think for yourself. And when you have a person that you like, like Ben Shapiro or whomever, like, if you like Ben Shapiro, fine, but like, listen to what he says and listen to his arguments. If the arguments are convincing, then that's good. But you shouldn't listen to Ben Shapiro in order to learn how to think. You should listen to Ben Shapiro because, you can learn how to make arguments or craft debates or stuff like that. Like how to behave in a debate or right? Because like, even if you're a left-leaning person and you don't like Ben Shapiro, or you're someone that is more like Kanye, then you can still admit that, well, he's a good debater. Like, he holds his own in his debate, and then you look at him, it's like, what are the tactics that he is using? How is he managing? Like, he's got this nasally voice, and he speaks really fast, and yet he manages to dominate in debates. What are the tactics that he's doing? How is he pulling it off? Right? And you learn the things from a different person that you can use yourself and improve your life. I don't believe trust is the same as giving up independent thought. No, but like the idea was like, you don't trust Jordan Peterson. Like, trust with what? Like, obviously listening to his speeches and trusting in what he has to say, right? Anyway, right. I'll end it here. Thank you for your time. And I don't know if I'm going to stream in the morning tomorrow. Probably I will. If this hour is comfortable for you guys, I might stream it again. And I'll see you guys in the comment section.